there, everybody. DM Galabond here. Excited to bring you information about the return of Lore Fridays. And this time we are going to be exploring the brand new Candlekeep Mysteries. We are going to be going through this book, which just dropped in March of 2021. And we're going to talk about all of the adventures in the book as separate units. And then we're also going to look at the end of this series about a way that you can take these different separate stories and put them together in a single campaign. These stories are not necessarily designed to go together, but they are arranged in such a way that they offer a progression all the way from level 1 through level 16. So with a little bit of creativity, there are many different ways you could put these into a single campaign. I'm going to just show you one of those ways. Maybe it's a little inspiration. First, a little bit of an overview. What is Candlekeep Mysteries? Well, Candlekeep Mysteries is a series of independent adventures that have a little bit of connective tissue. The one tangent that they all have is that they are based on or centered around or connected to a book that is in the holdings of the Great Library at Candlekeep. Kind of a teaser for this overall set of adventures is that some of the rarest books in Candlekeep hold ancient and puzzling mysteries that must be solved. And the idea behind this adventure is similar to, but distinctly different from Tales from the Yawning Portal. Now, what they did from Tales of the Yawning Portal is they went back to some of the greatest and most popular modules of all time from the history of all the different editions of D&D, and they collected those together as like tales that you might hear told at the bar or told around the table at the Yawning Portal, the very famous inn in Waterdeep. Now, these are independent, brand new stories that are not reprints of old modules. They were written specifically for this, and the conceit was design a short adventure around a book that is in the holdings of Candlekeep. So this is where it's similar because the stories aren't directly connected, but where it's different because the theme has to do with that library of Candlekeep. So therefore, it all is stuff that is set in the Forgotten Realms, and it has a very strong bent toward the Sword Coast, which is kind of the physical location of where Candlekeep is. Another similarity with these is that they all take the forms of a mystery. There's some mysterious occurrence that has happened, and the PCs have to go solve that mystery. So it's not like they know that there's orcs attacking a town and you have to go and stop the orcs. It's people are disappearing. Why are people disappearing? There's a curse. Ooh, nobody knows what the source of the curse is. You have to go figure out what the source of the curse is and solve it, and those types of things. So it's all based around kind of mysteries that are all somehow tied to a book in the collections here. The enemies and the location and the special creatures and item, all of that is going to vary from adventure to adventure. The only thing that we know about it going in is that they have arranged these from the first tale to the last tale so that each one, with the exception of 2 at 4th level, each tale is suitable for a party of a higher level. So the first tale is suitable for a 1st level party. Then there's one designed for a 2nd, one for a 3rd, 2 for a 4th, and then 1 each for levels 5th through 16th. So a total of 17 different tales. And kind of one of the great things about this, and one of the things that I love to see even in the preface, just like I always tell you on Lore Friday, they say that every single one of these stories, you can either use them in whole and put them into a homebrew campaign, change the setting, change the location, do whatever, Or you can even take elements out of each of these stories. Like, you like the map in this story? Fine. Take that map, ignore everything else, use that map in your game to repopulate with something else. That's why one of the things I always try to tell you on Lore Friday is, what is my favorite element out of the adventure? And sometimes it just is the artwork and the map, because it's so cool. I can think of different ways to use this in a homebrew campaign. You are going to find that some of them will be easily adaptable to your game world, your custom homebrew setting. Some of them really are not going to be great fits. The same goes with how you can adapt them for use with other editions. Sometimes they're going to work really well in another edition, and sometimes they are just not. One thing that is super cool about this collection is that they give us a very detailed picture of Candlekeep as a setting. Like some of the previous campaign length adventures that they have posted, Curse of Strahd, Out of the Abyss come to mind. They give you a big fold out map in the hardcover, or if you have the digital thing, it's a large scale digital map of the entire layout of Candlekeep. It shows you where all the buildings are, labels everything, because for most of the time, Candlekeep has always just been kind of a dot on the map. This particular map for Candlekeep, yes, they do give you a DM version and a player version. It's a great map for any kind of large monastery, library, keep, university, or even the castle of a monarch within a homebrew setting. So, if you've been trying to figure out, well, I think that there would be a castle that would have kind of some of these features. If it matches up enough, you just take it, put that in there, and then just relabel everything and call all the buildings what you want. It doesn't have to be a library anymore. Now, today is just a quick overview of what we are going to do, and I'll just remind you, for those of you who are not familiar with some of the previous Lore Friday segments we've done on other campaign length adventures. In this series of videos, we're going to take one adventure every week and examine it in detail. We'll walk through the setting of the adventure, because they're not always set in Candlekeep. Some of them are set there. Some of them start there with a book and then take you elsewhere. And we will preview, in very general terms, the plot of each adventure. We'll also talk about how you could use each adventure in an existing homebrew campaign. So how you could take that out and use it as filler. Well, I've written this, and I know this, and players are always going to make a left turn, so how can I have something ready in case they go somewhere I'm not expecting? Oh, well, we can just drop one of these in their way. And, maybe trying to pick out which ones might be best for your particular campaign based on the theme within it. And also, it's important to point out that there are some campaigns and some groups that none of these are going to be appropriate for. Why? Because they focus on mysteries. If you have a bunch of players that they just don't like mysteries, they don't like having to solve stuff, they just want you to put stuff in front of them that they get to hack and slash, then they may not like any of these very much. But if you do have players that either all the time or occasionally like a good mystery and they have to figure out what's going on, you could toss one of these in their way. I will then also share every week the element or elements that I like best from each of these adventures. It's not saying that it's the elements you have to like. It's just the ones that I like, and I'll tell you why. And maybe if you understand why I like certain elements, you'll be able to look at some of these adventures and start saying, oh, yeah, okay. Instead of looking at the thing as a whole that has to be immutable, you'll start to be able to see, oh, yeah, that part. If I just lifted that part, I could use it over here for something else. Or maybe I lift that part and I could use it over there for something else. And then for the last video in our series on Candlekeep Mysteries, I will show you at least one idea for how you can build a campaign around all of these adventures, so that if you have a bunch of players that really like mysteries and you want to give them a steady diet of those for many, many, many sessions of play, then how can you turn this into a single campaign? I already have a couple of ideas, and I have just skimmed through the book. I'm sure as we go in depth into each one of these adventures, I'll start to have even more ideas, and I will try to pick one of them that I'll flesh out and then maybe throw a couple of other ideas. Now, the ask for you all is that as we start going through this series, please leave your questions, leave comments, leave questions after every video. If there is something coming up in one of the mysteries that you want to know about, put it in questions so that as I'm preparing for each one of these, I can see those questions and I can think about what to focus on in each of those, so it can help to answer questions that you all have. All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm not going to take any more of your time today. We will come back here next time, and we will begin looking at the first adventure in the Candlekeep series, which is called The Joy of Extra-Dimensional Spaces. And this adventure is one for first-level characters, and we will talk a little bit about that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Take care. Bye-bye now.